Hey, what's up, guys? Today we are bringing you the first episode of our real Las Vegas real
estate talk.
Yeah, so the first order of business is that we need a name for our show. So if you guys have any ideas, please leave them in the comments. My name is Courtney with the Bachelor Hanna Group at Simply Vegas, and you are?
Daryl Hanna, the Bachelor Hanna Group.
Thank you for being here. So me and Daryl decided to kind of put together a monthly show that kind of highlights the things that we come across as agents. And this isn't just for the public at large, it's for other agents as well to kind of give you guys tips, scenarios, and things that we come across to hopefully help you guys do better when you're out there looking to buy or sell real estate.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So the first thing I want to do is kind of introduce ourselves to let you guys know who we are, and then from there we'll get started. So Daryl, please take it away.
Well, my name is Daryl Hanna, born and raised here in Las Vegas. I've been here my entire life, 48 years. I've been licensed now for almost 19 years. I've sold close to 2,000 homes. Like I said, all here in Las Vegas, which I think makes me an expert to the real estate market somewhat.
I'd say so.
I've purchased and flipped over 70 homes, which is how I started in the real estate career. I got my license. I was a contractor prior to being a realtor. So I got my license to buy and flip homes.
Nice.
And then we all know in 2008 that ended. And then I had to become a general real estate guy. And that's how I got into the general real estate game, was because I had to. I needed to.
That's funny. Necessity, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Necessity is the mother of invention.
You got to be a chameleon, man. You got to roll with it.
I agree. And that actually, it's funny he says that, because I became an agent. I've been an agent for 10 years. I've lived in Las Vegas for 37 years. I got here. My folks were military, so I'm an Air Force brat. Again, been here 37 years, and that's how we got here. But to Daryl's point, funny thing is, it was necessity for me as well. I've been in the housing industry for maybe 10 years. I worked for Syntex Homes, which is now part of Pulte. Pulte bought us out. But after that, I was a stagehand and ended up getting in a motorcycle accident and couldn't walk around. And I remember like it was yesterday, Daryl's wife, a friend of mine from high school or junior high.
We all grew up together.
We all grew up together. Asked me if I wanted to get my real estate license. And so out of necessity, because I literally couldn't walk, I started studying for my test, got my license, and that was 10 years ago, and here we are today.
Boom.
Yep, absolutely. So our first subject that we wanted to talk to you guys about today is the current state of affairs in our market and our city. And, you know, we all know, if you have a TV or a radio or you're on the internet, you know the situation. There's not a lot of homes on the market, and getting an offer accepted is very, very tough.
Yes, it is. And it's kind of like that all over the nation.
It is.
Everyone's going through low inventory as a whole. Vegas is the lowest in recorded history.
Right.
And with rates being as great as they've been, you've got a lot of people who want to buy homes.
For sure.
So, I mean, it doesn't matter if you're buying watches. It doesn't matter if you're buying jewelry. It's supply and demand, right?
For sure.
If there's low supply and high demand,
absolutely,
prices are going to go crazy.
Yeah, you know, and it's funny you say that, because I see a lot of people kind of deciphering and chopping up the reasons why, which is important, but I think what's even more important is how do you overcome those conditions. And that's what we're here to talk about today. And I think that begins with setting proper expectations with your, and I'm speaking to the agent and to the person out there looking as well, setting the proper expectations. Understand a couple of things. Number one, you're going to write a lot of offers. More than likely you will write 10 plus offers to get to kind of get yourself
unless you're
going.
lucky.
Unless you're lucky, you know. Exactly. I mean, it does happen. I've seen it happen before, but it's tough out there. So you have to kind of mentally prepare yourself for that aggravation, because you are going to tear your hair out just a little bit to get this done. But it's important, and the reason why it is important is because rates are great.
Yeah, rates are amazing. So a lot of people want homes, and there's not a lot of them. There's multiple offers, and homes are selling in hours, not days,
100%.
Not weeks.
Yep.
You know, it's like there is no time to think about it. And hey, I'm going to send you some properties on Tuesday. Can we go look at property on Saturday? It's gone.
For sure.
It's going to be gone. So got to move quick. And we're going to go over some tips to get your offers accepted today.
Absolutely. You know, and getting to the point of setting expectations, here's what the first thing you need to know. Putting your best foot forward is always going to be the order of the day.
Right out of the gate.
100%.
Yeah.
So if you can offer X number of dollars, if your listing price is $350, you need to at least be there, if not over, and probably over that amount is probably what's going to get it done.
But there's one thing to keep in mind when you go over.
the appraisal, which is kind of a big hurdle.
Yeah.
And so you have to understand a couple things about appraisal. So the number one thing is, in case you don't know, banks will only loan on appraised value. And the appraised value is the opinion of a third party looking at that property and deciding what it's worth. And so, and you have to remember, these are done by human beings. This is not
it's an opinion.
It is an opinion,
Yeah.
100% an opinion of value. That's a better way of putting it, actually. And so you have to understand there is a risk there that if you offer, I mean, you can go in there and throw the overhand right, but understand if it doesn't hit that appraised value, you could put yourself in a position where you're going to have to pay over that appraised value. And understanding that maybe that's where you need to be right off the bat is probably a good idea.
Well, and if you have a real estate agent who's listing the home who knows anything about real estate, they're going to recognize the offers that come in above what the home's going to appraise for. So then you're going to have to do things like waive your appraisal contingency. You can offer to pay X amount of dollars above a low appraisal. You don't need to waive it all together. You can say,
Correct.
hey, my buyer agrees to pay $5,000 over a low appraisal, $10,000 over a low appraisal. What you're doing essentially is you're guaranteeing the seller that, hey, if this thing comes in low, I know I offered a big amount, but if it comes in low, I'm going to pay this much over.
And keep in mind, that's the reason why that's such a good thing. For number one, it's because the seller will 100% know they got every dollar out of that property, and that's obviously going to make someone feel good, number one. Number two, and just so that you understand what waiving your appraisal contingency means, that means that you are coming out of pocket that amount of cash, whatever the difference is, be it $1 or $20,000, and trust me, we've seen 20, 30, 40.
Yeah. Waiving it all together is a little scary.
It is.
Unless you know for sure where that's going to come in.
100%.
And a lot of times we do know pretty close where it's going to come in.
For sure.
But on some homes, we absolutely have no idea. There's
Right.
no comps. We're just guessing at the end of the day.
For sure.
And the higher the price point you go, the riskier that move gets.
For sure, because that tolerance level gets bigger and bigger as the price goes up. So.
And I firmly believe, after doing this for almost 20 years, appraisers wake up on the wrong side of the bed. And they're just not in a good mood for whatever
100%.
reason. And it works the other way, too. They wake up and they're in a good mood and they had a good time with their wife the night before and friggin' bring the appraisal in. I mean, right? I mean, man, it's crazy.
You're not wrong.
Appraisers, it's their opinion. So if they're in a good mood, you're probably going to be okay. And if
Right.
they're in a bad mood, you're in trouble.
100%. And you have to remember, too, a lot of the times, and I've seen this a couple of times where appraisers will, I think what they're doing is kind of reading the market and understanding that it's moving so quickly, you might get a little bit more because they're kind of cushioning, so to speak, because they know that those values are going to keep rising, and they are. I mean, the demand is.
And then
is
others
low.
don't care.
And others don't care.
I mean, others don't care, and I firmly believe they've been told to keep a lid on it. You
Right.
know, it doesn't make sense sometimes. So anyway, you just got to be careful.
Right, and I think a lot of that plays to the point that people are constantly comparing our conditions today with the conditions of 2006, 7, and 8, when it's not the same situation. It's a completely different situation. The employment situation is different. We have a pandemic to consider. There are so many different indicators to make this a completely foreign situation. I mean, the truth of the matter is that we don't have any historical data because we've never had COVID before. That's the unknown, and that's something that we're all just kind of, you can make educated guesses, but they're just that, guesses.
Yeah. And another reason why we have to offer so much above value and waive our appraisals because we're trying to compete with all cash offers.
For sure.
I mean, that's really the only way you can compete with all cash.
100%.
So people always ask, like, what's the big deal about all cash? Well, there's no appraisal most of the time. There's no lender. A lot of times they can close in 2 weeks instead of 30 days.
Right.
There's a lot of benefits to cash. And I think the biggest thing is just usually there's no appraisal.
Right,
So,
for sure. And you can't forget the fact that the rate's almost more important than the price of the home, honestly. You have to look at the fact that we're in the 3s still. That basically is free money. So you have to look at your buying power in that situation. You're in a great buying power situation. We've never seen rates this low. And before we get into, the rates have kind of spiked a little bit. And when I say spiked, I mean from 2.75 if you have, a great score to 3.5. Okay, it's still great. Don't forget that. Don't talk yourself into thinking that now, rates are going up. Yeah, they're going up, but it's still below 4% if you've got great credit.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think the big people are waiting around because they think we're going to see some huge drop in the market.
All right.
I don't think that's going to happen. My opinion is that we may not see a drop in the market for a very long time.
For sure.
And if you wait for that to happen, rates are going to continue to keep going up.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, I tell people right now is your actual best time.
For sure.
Because you got the lowest possible price and you got the lowest possible rate.
Yep.
If you believe in that.
For sure.
But there's people that told me back when COVID hit, we're going to wait and, COVID's going to slam the market.
Right.
And we've broken records every month since.
Right.
So that never happened.
Yep. And a lot of people are sitting on the fence because they don't have jobs. I mean, it's great you can sell your home. Most homes have equity at this point, but you have to be able to qualify to go. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Number one, you got to have something to go buy. You have to be able to qualify. If you're in a situation where you've lost your job or you're temporarily laid off, you obviously can't qualify for a loan. So, there's that to consider as well. So,
100%.
The other item is, waiting. Waiting is another thing that we hear a lot when we're talking to people about possibly listing their home, because right now is a great time to list your home. No one's going to dispute that. The problem is that the people are just trying to wait to see what happens, and that can be a detriment in the long run.
It can be. I truly believe that the one thing that could really hurt our market is a huge increase in inventory.
For sure.
And so that would slow down the amount people are having to pay over appraised value. They're having to make all these crazy offers because there's 20 offers on every house.
Right.
And when you get a big inventory surge, which we do need inventory, but for sellers, that's not good.
Yeah.
That's good for buyers.
That's right.
So that's going to change the tide and make it more of an even market.
For sure.
Right now, sellers are ahead of the game.
They are.
So
That's
why it's a good time to list.
And and honestly, buyers are ahead of the game too. Because of the rate situation.
100%.
It's a pristine situation for everybody. Everybody wins 100%. So, just to summarize, make sure that you're setting the proper expectations. Understand you may have to write more than one offer. You may have to go look at, all 10 homes that are on the market right now. And you may have to pay over appraised value. But keep in mind that the rates are still good. Waiting is probably not a great idea if you're looking to list or buy, quite frankly. On both sides, waiting is not the order of the day. There are strategies that can help you kind of get your offer accepted as well. We talked about offering more and waiving your appraisal contingency. Another way of doing that is to sweeten the pot for the seller, make it more attractive. And sometimes that's not always money. One of the ways would be to up your EMD, meaning your earnest money deposit. Typically it's around 1%, but
Yeah, no, I mean, that's all the seller really knows about you as the buyer is how strong is your earnest money deposit? How serious are you? And you speak to the seller by giving a bigger earnest money deposit. Because if you go, if it's a $400,000 house, you usually put $3,000 or $4,000 earnest money deposit. You put 10, that seller knows that you're not playing around. You're not going to be here today, gone tomorrow. Like if anybody puts $10,000 in earnest money deposit, like it's for real.
For sure.
And another way to make that seller feel happy, and it's not a big deal, but I don't know why it makes sellers so happy, is to pay the seller's transfer tax.
True.
It's something that's negotiable. It's usually paid by the seller.
Right.
It's $5.10 per thousand.
Yep.
So on a $200,000 house, it's $1,000.
Yep.
But man, I'll tell you what. When you agree to pay that, they're like, oh my God, dude, that's so awesome.
It is. It is good because it doesn't happen very often, but it's just one of those things that just makes your offer stand out just that little bit more, 100%. And another thing that you can do is you can offer to maybe allow them to rent the home back if they need to, if they need a little bit extra time to get out of the home. It doesn't have to necessarily be money.
Or to go find another home.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So giving the seller a little bit more time to be, more flexible and to maybe huge. Not make it so stressful is huge, because in this situation, everybody's stressed. The buyer's stressed, the seller's stressed, the agents are stressed, the loan officer is stressed. We're all stressed. So whatever you can do to alleviate that will make you stand out. So be smart about it, I guess is the best I can say. So you have anything else to add?
That's it. To keep agents out there, keep hustling, keep going at it, keep working. And, just one last thing, too, that comes to mind. As agents, it's so important to build good, strong relationships with other agents.
For sure.
Because we all work with each other, and in good times, it really comes in handy. In bad times, people don't think about it so much.
Right.
But I'm always conscious of who I'm dealing with. I really do try to,
for sure,
create those good relationships. So that's really what it's all about. Relationships.
Absolutely. I think all the way around. I think with the seller, the buyer, the loan officer, your title person, everybody involved in the transaction. It speaks a lot to being able to be nimble in the market when you're well liked, when people know that you're going to get the deal done, when they know you're going to pick up your phone, when you're just going to be proactive and you're going to look out for their best interests.
They want to
That's
deal
all
with you.
anybody
They want
wants.
to work with you.
100%, for sure.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for tuning in. We have more to come. If you have any ideas on what we can
Our
call
name?
this monster, please let us know. But we appreciate you tuning in. Thank you.
All right,
We'll
guys.
talk to you
Take
next
it
time.
easy.
Take care.